Welcome to another Marketer's Edge interview. My name is Mark Snyder. I'm founder and CEO of RSW Agency Search. We're a no-cost way for marketers to find best-in-class agencies of any type or size. And you can learn more about us at rswas.com. Today, we're talking with Kelley Thornton, the founder and CEO of Tiege Hanley, the brand that offers uncomplicated skincare for men. Kelley, thanks so much for joining us today. How have you been?
Awesome, Mark. Thanks so much for having me. Look forward to talking to you. Very exciting topics.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, listen, I've got a small handful of questions for you, but before we do that, can you tell me a little bit about Tiege Hanley, what you do for the company?
Yeah,
I'm assuming you probably wear many hats. I'd like our audience to know what kind of company it is and what you do for them.
yeah. It's very simple. We make skincare routines. We're skincare experts. So we make skincare routines for men. We have hundreds and hundreds, over 500,000 customers. Guys come to us because they want to look and feel amazing, and we help them no matter where they are in their journey of taking care of their skin. We help them with simplified skincare systems. We also sell a lot of individual products, but we're really a system company. And the reason why that is, Mark, is because we believe that men should have healthy routines in their lives, and we believe skincare as a routine is important for guys to be engaged with. So that's our business. We're primarily 80% of our business is direct to consumer, either through our own website and otherwise we sell on Amazon. And that's the balance of our business. And we are an international business. We ship to 108 countries every month. Again, hundreds of thousands of customers around the world.
That's great. And I assume your role as founder and CEO is to sort
Mm,
of guide the ship, or are you wearing a million hats?
yeah, skip that part. I'm the coach. Yep. So I'm involved in every aspect of the business, from
Got it.
finance to HR to digital marketing to operations and product innovation, developing strategy, and making sure the team is all marching in that direction. So that's what I do every day.
That's great. That's great. So I'm curious, what made you get into the business of men's skincare, a category just based on my look at your past that you seemingly have never played in before professionally. What motivated you?
That's a good point. Um, you know, and by the way, I'd like to unpack both of those points. I got into skincare because I really felt like, this was an area that men need to be thinking about. I saw globally through my previous experience that men were highly engaged outside of the US in the skincare category. So I thought there's a great opportunity for guys, here in the US to think about skincare and why it's important, and so really was an opportunity. I saw a massive opportunity. I myself wasn't getting any younger, so my wife was after me to take care of myself, both like in what I eat and how I exercise, how I spend my time, my mental health. So I was really concerned about health in general, and skin health was really important to me. My current business partner in Tiege Hanley, one of my couple business partners, his father died. We were friends growing up. His father died at 56 from melanoma, so we really focus on educating consumers about taking care of their skin, educating men about preventing skin cancer, particularly.
Okay. So can you talk to me a little bit about how you landed on the positioning of uncomplicated? The men's skincare market, I'm assuming, isn't nearly as crowded as the women's market, and I suspect there aren't as many choices necessarily. So talk to me about, what you heard from men as you began the development of this product and,
Yeah.
and why this positioning.
Yeah, I mean, look, guys need to take care of themselves too, right? So I think, and the concept of a man taking care of himself, you and I are probably in a similar age bracket, and we're like gorillas, right? We're expected to go out and lay bricks and come home and chop firewood and on the weekends, do these type of things, right? And go play golf and not put any skincare, any suntan lotion on us. And we've realized that it's really it's important to start taking care of yourself. So I actually, my background which is one of the reasons why we're talking, is I had an agency for 10 years. We're a global retail design strategy company. So we did
Hmm.
design and strategy for retail. I spent a lot of time overseas, and I saw that there was a really huge opportunity to help educate the male consumer here in America. That's what. And then the other thing I spent, it's ironic, Mark. I spent all my time at retail helping consumer product companies think about how to sell their products in retail, and I came to the conclusion that men just, you know, men don't really like to shop, right? So we're not the type of guys that are just watching a baseball game and deciding to go to the store, local store, to see what's available, what's new in skincare. So I really thought it was a great opportunity to educate guys online and deliver it to them, directly to their door. And guys are very creatures of habit. So direct consumer, educating guys online, and a growing wave in men thinking about taking care of themselves are all things that really motivated me to get in this business.
Got it. The fact that you sort of position yourself as uncomplicated, does that
Yeah, right.
naturally minimize the number of SKUs that you're offering to try and simplify the decision for
Right. Yeah, I didn't answer that question
that?
very well, but I spent all this time globally in retail stores, and I was just, really blown away. There would be like, I'd be in London, or I'd be in China or Hong Kong, and I'd see like, this Fabio looking dude, with his shirt off, like for men's skincare, like water thrown against his chest. I'm like, who the hell is like thinking of that marketing concept? Like that is not encouraging me to to buy skincare. And then when I go into some of these stores again, like Harrods, Liberty, Sogo, big Carrefour, Big C in Asia, I would just see like an insane amount of product, and for a dude, it's just way, way, way too much. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
And then when I was doing research, I was actually here. I'm from Chicago. I'm from the East Coast, but I'm 30 years in Chicago. I was in a great department store here in Chicago called Marshall Fields. Unfortunately, that name no longer exists, but the department store was there. I remember going in there doing research, and there was just so much product everywhere. And I'm like, so I'm talking to this person behind the counter. I'm like, what's new in skincare? And they're like, I got this really super special thing down here underneath the counter. They're like presenting it to me. I'm like, what is that? They're
Right.
like, it's BB tape. I'm like, I had no idea. I had no idea what that is. It means nothing to me. I'm like, yeah, I was embarrassed. I'm like, yeah, I've been looking for that. How much? I want some of that. Like, how much is that? So just the concept of like a guy having no idea about skincare and so
Yeah.
many solutions. It's really kind of a joke. So we
Yeah.
just most guys, most men actually have some at some point have some experience in skincare. So it's either that your mother or yourself when you were very young had some issues with acne prone skin.
Hmm.
So it's usually something like that, or you've been using your significant other, your wife, girlfriend, whatever's face wash or scrub, and you're like, this is pretty good. So we wanted to simplify things for guys. It's the
Hmm.
long and short of it. It was really embarrassing, so we've made it really easy.
Yeah. I'm just curious what are your top three selling items?
Yeah, well, our systems. So we have three main systems. Kind of like the power of three. We have three
Okay.
main systems, and we have two main acne systems. So guys are really our routines are very very simple. Mark, it starts with just using a really high quality face wash. So you're just using a face wash, a super high quality face wash in the morning. So you get up out of bed, brush your teeth, use our face wash, and then use a moisturizer. So in the morning, we use our AM moisturizer, making it dude friendly. And then you're doing the same thing again at night. You're washing your face and you're using a nighttime moisturizer. We add a weekly exfoliating scrub. So our hero products are, kind of those core four items,
Right.
with face wash and a moisturizer being our primary product. So
Yeah.
of the 500,000 guys that are that are engaged with our brand, they're using a high quality face wash, followed by a daytime or nighttime moisturizer.
Okay.
And that just
Okay.
really, that's like the essentials of everything you
Right.
should do.
Cool.
Yep.
So I'm curious, being a relatively new brand, how do you build awareness and effectively compete against all the big brands in the market today? Can you talk to me a little bit about what you're doing? I'm thinking you might help some of our viewers today that are, in sort of that startup mode, trying to figure
Yeah.
out, how to best support their brand in a different way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that actually could be our whole conversation. Right. So direct to consumer marketing is brutally difficult. It's kind of akin to using a jackhammer against a stone wall every day, a concrete wall every day. Um, Having a voice in the marketplace is super difficult, and it's becoming more and more difficult than it was when we started 8 years ago, when there wasn't that many people out there talking about the things that we're talking about.
Right.
We're all over the internet, so your female listeners may not have ever heard of us. Most likely, have never heard of us because we market specifically to men, and we're marketing to men in multiple channels. And I think like from a digital marketing perspective, you can think of a channel the same way we think of bricks and mortar. You have your convenience store channels, you have your drugstore channels, you have your mass market channels, you have your hyper channels, and so forth and so on. So we and consumers are in a different need state when they're thinking about those channels. Like when you're going out to buy a loaf of bread, you're not going to go to Costco. When you're more in an exploratory, or you might be going to a drugstore. So we compete marketing wise in multiple channels. We're an influencer-led company, so we make a lot of long-form content that dudes are thinking about. Most of us guys are, whether or not we're like just changing the washer on our washer machine that is not working, and our family members are saying we can't clean the clothes, so we've got the whole damn thing apart, and we're just like looking at what washer could be broken. Those type of things, and where guys are seeking out things that we think are relevant to our consumers, we're there.
Oh, that's great. And you referenced earlier Purchase Point, the other
Yeah.
company that you started. Other than the two companies, Tiege Hanley and Purchase Point, have there been other businesses that you've started in the past?
Yeah, so I actually started. I actually started with a painting company through high school and college.
Okay.
So I was in New England. I'm laughing because I was just going through a lot of my files this weekend. I have like 20 file boxes. A lot of them are going to the shredder today. And I actually found some brochures from my first company. And when I was, I was probably sub 20 years old, and I saw like a whole document with startup costs. It had everything listed
Right.
out, and I saw some of my old quotations that I would give to my. And the printers those days were like dot matrix printers. They weren't even they weren't even solid letters. So I started, and the benefit of that business, financially, it allowed me to graduate college debt free and get into the work world with cash in my pocket, which was a super big deal. But it also taught me how to like manage people and manage P&L and understand costs and understand how you got to a profitable standpoint. So I did that, and then I was in 18 years in corporate. I was in sales, and I was working for international division of international papers, so
Okay.
billions of dollars, and a great company. And then I really, really, really liked the strategy, the shopper marketing strategy that big CPG companies use to help sell more product at retail and connect to people at retail. So I started Purchase Point. It's a wonderful company.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Yep. So just in general, what motivated you to sort of head down the entrepreneurial path, and what continues to
Yeah.
motivate you to stay there?
Yeah, great question. I remember being it's insane. My father's been deceased for 5 years. I remember the first, I think it was day three. I remember going, I graduated from the University of Connecticut. My father had just moved from Connecticut to New Jersey to take a VP of sales job. And I already found a job in sales in Connecticut with IBM or NCR. And he said, you never even interviewed for, to go into to the business that I'm in, which was in-store display and packaging. And I said, I never even thought about it. Long story short, I ended up interviewing. I took this job. I told NCR, IBM that I wasn't going to be able to come to Connecticut. And so I remember, like, on my third day, we would commute together. I said to my father, I really don't think this is the path for me. I really don't think I want to, work for in sales and corporation. I want to go back to only, I want to start another business. And I don't distinctly remember him saying, like, make some money, get some experience, maybe buy a house, and then you can do it. It took me 18 years, Mark, to, like, break out. And the reason why I did is, without going into too many details, I just, like, I was very, I had a very successful sales career, and I saw all the money that I was making for the companies that I was working for. And I felt like if I could just make a tenth of that, I could probably live happily. So that's how it happened.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. Yep. So just as kind of a follow-up from that, looking back on your career, what experience or experiences do you think sort of have been most influential or helpful to you in starting, and running businesses? You mentioned some of the stuff you did at Purchase Point.
Yeah.
Were there other experiences that you feel have really sort of helped you along the way in running your own thing?
Yeah, I mean, it is brutally difficult. Like, having your own business is brutally difficult. I think it's every single step over the last 30 years has really paved the way from where I'm at now. I actually think that the Purchase Point is a decent business. I had 30 some people in it. I had more than that. I had offices in Taipei and in London and in the US. But I think, like, that was kind of like little league for where I'm at now. I mean, Tiege Hanley is a much more substantial business in terms of annual revenue and complexity. And so I think everything I've done along the way has helped prepare me. But it is just brutally hard. I was having a conversation this morning with our director of e-commerce, and we have an issue with. We have a legal issue with somebody about something, and it's a small issue. We'll take care of it in a few days. But I think I think, like, those type of issues to small business, and this issue is common in our business. Like, there's a lot of this type of issue arising, and this isn't the first time. We've seen other related issues to e-commerce, legal issues, and it's basically just people coming in trying to shake us down. And I mean, this issue could put out small business right out of business. I mean, it's just so hard. So the number of issues that you deal with as an entrepreneur and the complexity of the business is it's really difficult. So I think, like, it takes years and years of practice of understanding how to have grit and stamina and perseverance to be successful as an entrepreneur.
Sure. Yeah. Stamina is a good choice of words there.
Yeah.
Get punched around a lot, but have to deal with lots of different issues. But that's great to hear. So I noticed, just jumping back to, you had mentioned earlier, long form content. I noticed that you had a couple of University of Connecticut basketball players
Yeah.
and a piece of content you created. I think it was for the brand's launch. I was curious, what's the connection there, and have you used them or something similar like that in other pieces of content?
We that actually was, so that was driven by laws around NIL, name, image, and likeness. That's changed kind of how universities, athletes are able to make money. That was our first kind of NIL thing we have a connection to the University of Connecticut because, as I mentioned, I went there. My business partner, one of my business partners, Rob Hoxie, also went there. And it's funny, you probably experienced this. You went to great universities yourself, but eventually they find you. The universities do, and they want to engage with you. They want you to contribute to the university, but they want to engage with you. And so, a few years ago, we're a pretty good story because actually my wife, I met my wife at the University of Connecticut. She's also an alumni. Rob met his wife at Connecticut. They got married years later, so she's an alumni. And we're a good story for the University of Connecticut. And,
Yeah.
two guys that started a business and have a successful entrepreneur journey. And so we were connected to the university through that, and we had an opportunity to work with some of their basketball talent. We produced some content. We're a content producing machine. We produce between 300 and 400 pieces of original content a month. So
Wow.
that was our first NIL piece of
Yeah.
content, and it was great. And some of those basketball players, personal friends is probably not the right statement, but I communicate with regularly. I send texts to those guys. Cam Spencer, got drafted in the NBA as a two-way. Donovan Clingan has a contract in the NBA. Adamas Nogo is here in Chicago and plays for the Bulls. So it's great having those contacts.
Sure. So you said you produce 300 to 400 pieces of content a month.
Correct.
Is that you developing a piece of content like the Yukon video and parsing it out and pushing it to different channels and using it in different ways, or what? And that number is pretty stunning and awesome. How you getting there?
So that actually is original content. So we're producing that much original content, and then we are doing exactly what you described. We're using that original content and putting it across our platforms. So we will take original content, and not every piece of original content do we do this, but we'll take parts of that content and we'll deploy it across digital channels, such as our paid channels, our organic channels, and things of that nature. So it's a lot of different methodologies. We have our own creative studios in house that we manage and create content, and then we use we solicit content from third-party content creators and third-party agencies. And then we're working directly with content producers on platforms as well. So, Mark, if you know how to sing and dance and you're on a platform and guys are watching you, we like to work with you.
You won't find me doing that.
Well, maybe have some other skill, podcasting.
I was going to ask you if you used outside agencies, and it sounds like you do on some level.
Yes, we're a little bit of an anomaly because we don't use a lot of outside agencies, but we use a lot of smaller content agencies, but we don't. All of our digital marketing, and for the most part, most of our content we manage through Tiege Creative Studios.
Got it. Okay. So just a couple more questions for you. Any advice you'd give to a marketer, maybe a marketer that's in sort of a startup phase of a new product launch, actually, thinking about bringing an agency on board? Any counsel you'd give them?
Yeah, I think it is. I know this is your world, Mark. I think it's very, very, very difficult. I think the services that your company, I know that's not we're here to talk about, but getting the right agency on board is a very, very difficult challenge. Matching their skill sets with the things that you need, getting aligned on what the goals and objectives of the relationship is, understanding their talent, the things that they are really good at and the things that they're not too good at, and then managing that relationship, is a very challenging thing. So, I would say that being very, very selective and very diligent. Like, don't, rush into something. If you could structure a relationship with an agency in such a way that it's, a short-term structure where you're exploring how they can bring value to your company, and you can do it where you can, exit that relationship in a short period of time if things don't go well.
Hmm.
Those are all would be, things that I would highly suggest that you do, and then have frequent top to top. So depends on how big your company is. If there's multiple people at your organization that are dealing with multiple people at that organization, that whoever really owns the relationship is having, a monthly top to top with agency owners to really make sure that things are going, and expectations are being met. So I would do
Yep.
all of those things.
Yep. No, that's great advice. Definitely. The last thing you want to do is run into a relationship or be, enamored by some, glossy, sexy presentation that an agency gives you. I mean, it's critical that the needs are well aligned with their skill sets. So, just one last question for you: if an agency was trying to knock down your door
Yeah.
and attempting to win business from you,
Yes.
other than don't call me, what advice would you give that agency?
I mean, I actually, well, we are solicited every day. I mean, I spend time looking at every email and every reach out. I actually do because
Hmm.
you know, you never know when there's something out there that is, right, that we should be exploring. Um,
Right.
I think a few words of wisdom is be very succinct and clear with your communication. Having an agency myself and being solicited all the time, telling me that you can do like 10 different things is almost always something that I'm not interested in. I'm really looking at, and maybe you do 10 things, but if you're really good at one thing, that's what you should focus on when you're reaching out, in my humble opinion. Um, and then being very, very, being clear in that communication. Almost all the time you'll say like we helped, and I'll just make up some names here. We've helped, Procter and Gamble, and we've helped L'Oreal, and we've helped all this. And actually, that actually is not that interesting to me, at all. I mean, some people, I understand you're trying to validate that you've got a legitimate agency. It's not necessarily I want to follow L'Oreal at all, and that may mean that you're too big for me. And so I wouldn't go with that approach. I would be very succinct about what you do, how you do it, and what makes yourself different. And then I would also say, like, be patient. Like, I,
Be
you know,
patient.
be patient. I mean, it's kind of bananas to me that people are expecting that, like, a CEO of a company is going to drop something and call them back. And it just doesn't happen that way at all. So you just need to be patient. We work on like quarterly planning, so you
Yeah.
can connect with me now, and like that, you may be good like in January of next year because we might be
Yeah.
focusing on that. So stay in touch and be patient, and don't you know and I'm sorry, I'm going to go ahead and give you one more. Don't be rude and obnoxious. Like, which happens every single day. Like, apparently you don't care about growing your business 30%. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop emailing you. Well, fuck off. Like, like, I don't care about growing my business 30%. So I'm not dropping what I'm doing because what you say is that
I,
important. I mean, it's just like you don't really need to
it,
say that kind of stuff. I mean, it
yeah,
doesn't help.
it, yeah, it is quite incredible the stuff that one sees, coming from salespeople. We're on an agency list. People think we're an ad agency, and so I get a lot of the stuff that probably you get, and
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, it can be pretty insane. Well, it's great. I wish you all the best
Thank
with
you.
the line. I'm going to have to get online and get myself cleaned up a bit here.
Yeah, you will
And
see
no, I
results.
think I think it's awesome. I love the fact that you're an entrepreneur and you're learning from the things that you're doing and applying it, and just making things better every day. And
Yeah.
I know how challenging running a business can be because I do it myself, and but wouldn't have wouldn't have it any other way. Despite some of the crazy stuff we have to deal with, at the end of the day, it's a lot of fun. So,
It's great.
Kelley, yeah, really appreciate it, and absolutely wish you nothing but the best going forward.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me on your
All
show.
right, take care. Yep, thanks.